Yo, what's up YouTube? Gonna be doing a quick patch notes review for patch 5.2. This shouldn't be an insanely big patch. I'm just gonna scroll through the skins. You guys can, pause and look through that if you want. But it shouldn't be an insane patch. This is the first, update to Season 5 on the live client, so they probably want to keep a bunch of stuff the same. There's, this bundle thing, blah blah blah, another bundle. This is part of the Ragnarok event, I think is what it's called. And here's where we get to stuff that I actually care about. God balance. First off is Ares. These are a few minor tweaks, but actually ones that I think are pretty impactful. So the first one, his chains increase minion damage from 50 to 130 to 70 to 150. The only level that really matters here in my mind is the first one, the 50 to the 70. Having 20 more damage on wave or on jungle or whatever is a really big deal. Ares' biggest weakness is actually his level 1 clear. His level 1 fight is pretty good if you get chains, but this means that his 1 should just be better than his 3 for clearing waves, or it's definitely better for clearing the jungle camps because you can just 1 and then auto attack instead of having to channel your 3. For wave and for fighting, the shackles should be better now, but just helping out Ares early game so that he can be more of an early dominant god, I guess, and take advantage of his damage and the rest of his kit. So I think this is a really good change, kind of just like a quality of life change. You won't notice it past level 1, really, I don't think. Bolster defenses, this is 2. Decrease mana from 60 to 80 to 40 to 60. Again, just kind of a quality of life thing. I don't really think he needed this. Ares is one of the least mana hungry supports by a lot. I don't think you ever can really run with him if you have Guardian's Blessing. And I don't know, I don't think these things help him too much in terms of viability. You would probably still pick Ares all the same times you would before, but now he will feel a little bit better, so definitely just nice quality of life changes for Ares. He hasn't been played that much, so I like that. Neith, increase base power from 35 to 38, and increase base power per level from 2.3 to 2.5, so basically Neith will just have more power throughout the game, and her abilities will hit harder. She's pretty much an ability-based hunter. I mean, she doesn't really have an auto-attack steroid or anything like that, so if you want to play Neith mid or something and take advantage of the new Crusher or any of those type of builds, or the new Transcendence that has CDR on it, then these changes will help Neith a lot. I actually think that she's pretty good right now. Her builds are pretty good, and these changes should definitely make her feel really good to play, especially in mid. Going to Thor, Berserker Barrage, decrease the cooldown from 13 to 11 seconds. This is actually pretty crazy because Thor hasn't really gotten buffed much, ever, because he's always been a consistently good god. I'd say in the last 6 months or so, he really hasn't been picked that much. Maybe a little more than that in a competitive level. So I don't know, 2 seconds on his main clear ability should help him in the jungle a lot. It should make him feel a lot better in the early game as well, so definitely a really big change. I don't know if this means you'll max his 3 again. You might just max his 3, just because your shorter cooldown will mean you can clear the jungle a lot better, so definitely makes Thor a lot better. 2 seconds is a huge deal. Going on to Vulcan, increase magical power scaling from 70 to 80% on his Magma Bomb. This is Meatball, his 3, whatever. Just means Vulcan will have more damage, just a slight tweak. I don't really think it makes him that much better, but I already thought he was pretty good. He's just decent, so just a minor tweak. Most of these are just minor tweaks. I'd say the biggest change here, is the Thor one, and the change that'll end up being felt the most is maybe Neith's, because Neith doesn't get played that much, and you'll probably see her a lot more. Moving on to items, so Deathbringer has been an insanely hot topic. Everybody is raging, well, not everybody, but most people are very upset with crit metas in general and do not like RNG at all. And it feels really bad to have what was going on in 5.1, where you would have hunters go Deathbringer 3rd item, and then you'd get crit for 500 at level 12, which is just insane. So they tweaked Deathbringer originally. They were only decreasing the power from 10 by 10 from 50 to 40. People were pretty upset about that, so they now decrease the crit chance from 35 to 25, and increase the passive critical damage buff from 25 to 30%. So basically, this is going to move Deathbringer more into the luxury crit item, and it won't give you the absurd 35% crit in one item. That was basically 2 crit items in one. Like both Poison Star and Wind Demon are, what is that? That's like 5,200 gold or whatever it is, and gives you 40% crit, and Deathbringer gives you 35 for 3k, which is just crazy. So the nerfs to Deathbringer should hurt crit a little bit. It should still be viable. You'll probably still see people going crit, but hopefully Deathbringer third item dies, and I think that's kind of the point. Devourer's Gauntlet, you're going to see a lot of hunter changes. Increased cost from 21 to 2,300. I like this change a lot. This brings it more in line with Transcendence. Now Transcendence is only 300 gold more, but Transcendence also gives you a quicker power spike because it gives you the CDR right up front, and it'll give you more power up front. So I think this will help the ability-based hunters close the gap on the hunters that are just basically auto only and lifesteal. Devil Gauntlets is still really, really freaking good, and I'm glad that they increased the cost because this item was like the best item in the game for a long time. Like, it was just way too good. So definitely a good change. Moving on to Aussie, similar thing. Double lifesteal has been prominent. Hunters has pretty much been broken for like the last 5 months or so. Decreased physical pen from 15 to 10, which means if you want to opt into double lifesteal, you'll be doing slightly less damage, which I think is a good change. Couple more for defensive items. Talisman of Energy. This item is pretty cool. It's like the old War Flag effect, but the stats were really bad because it had 10 stacks and it was only 1 per, so they basically halved the stacks and doubled the benefit per stack. I think this is a much better change, so you'll still have the max, potential will be 10% movement speed, 10% attack speed, and then a shit ton of MP5. And you can get the whole thing off of one wave. I think this is pretty good. I don't know if you pick this item up, but it definitely is a lot more interesting, and you can definitely play with it a lot more now that you'll actually max the stacks and be able to walk around and take advantage of the movement speed and attack speed. So good change to Talisman of Energy. And then Midgardian Mail, increased physical protection from 30 to 40. Again, hunters have been really good for a while. Midgardian is like the best defensive item at countering that or attempting to counter that, but the protections and the health on it were way too low. I still think that at 40 it's a bit too low. It's now, I think, like 350 health and 40 procs. Is it 350 or 250? I don't even remember, but it's something like that. But I still think the protections are a little bit too low, but 10 procs on an item with the passive that is as strong as Midgardian should help it a lot. So definitely a good change again. And then Atalanta's Bow. This is a hard one to judge. So basically Atalanta's, or Atlanta, I thought there was another A here. I'm pretty sure there's another A here, and they typoed this. But they decreased the cost from 23 to 2,200, and then increased the attack speed from 25 to 30. It's kind of hard to tell if this makes the item good or not. It's kind of just budget Hasten Fatalis from, earlier in Season 4. And hunters were completely nuts when they had that. I think that it still won't get picked up that much. I still think you'd opt into early game pen, lifesteal, and crit before you go for this type of item. But I think you might see people throw this in like 6 item to finish out their build, that type of stuff, so that in late game team fights the hunter can have a little bit more mobility while they're auto attacking. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Pretty quick patch notes review, nothing crazy. I guess just to cover a few potential questions. The only other thing that I think should be nerfed, and I want to be nerfed in 5.3, is Book of the Dead. I think that's way too strong of an item. It's basically, it can potentially give you 800 mana, or 800 health from the proc, which is in a lot of cases can be better than a freaking Aegis, which has a 180 second cooldown, and Book of the Dead has a 90. So I definitely would like to see Book of the Dead get nerfed. Other than that, I think everything else in Season 5 is in a pretty good spot. I think that those 2 defensive items, Talisman of Energy and Midgardian Mail, were probably the main 2 I would have wanted to be changed. The third would be I'd rather Oni's have its old passive from Season 4, but that's just kind of me nitpicking. Hunter builds, I'm kind of fine with how they are after these 3 changes. I think these are all good. I think Assassins are in a good spot, Mages are in a really good spot. So yeah, I'm actually really happy with all this. I think it's all going pretty well, and that's it. Goodbye.